Hello everyone, my name is Gurnoor Singh and this is my video demonstration for SIT111 working on an Arduino project simulation in Tinkercad. And within this project, what I've done is created a posture sensor which helps to indicate whether a person sitting on a certain chair is in a good posture or not. So basically, what to present the problem, a lot of people, for example, students or people who are working in offices, they do have a bad habit of a posture or a declined posture, and what it does is actually it causes a lot of issues in like back pain, neck pain, and a lot of other stuff. But if let's say if they have an indicator on their desk or on their chair where they can sense, okay, their posture is bad and they need to correct it. With that little change, I guess, or a or a quick feedback loop, I guess there's a good percentage of success that can be retained, of people that can be retained back into the good posture state, and things could improve as well. So with that being said, what I've created here is a posture sensor that can be installed on the chair, and it will basically indicate for the user that whether he or she is in a bad posture or not, and they should correct it or not as well. And so I'll just start by getting into the components that I've used. The first component, as you guys can see here, is the Arduino Uno R3, and this is the main microcontroller chip that is being used. And through this, the whole circuit it's going to operate. Afterwards, you have the breadboard, and basically breadboard is what's used to connect whole of the circuit in much more of an easier manner. So breadboard and jumper wires as well. I have used two sensors here, two different sensors. The first one is a flex sensor over here, as you guys can see. And the use of flex sensor is basically that it indicates how much of the bending is done into anything, you guys can say. And this can be basically installed in the back of the chair. Sorry, to indicate that how much is the person bending, and it basically operates by providing the amount of resistance that is being put by the bending into the flex sensor. Afterwards, we have the ultrasonic distance sensor over here, and what it does is basically measures the distance of the object distance of object that it's placed from. And what's this gonna do is actually we can place this in the sitting position of the chair, and if the user is too close to or basically sitting on the chair, we can basically set up a threshold value which would indicate, okay, that if the person is sitting on the chair or not. And with that being said, these are all the components that I've used. Apart from the sensor, the wires and stuff, I've used two resistors here. The first one is a 10K resistor here. And what it basically does is helps to control the current that is going through the flex sensor. And the other one over here is the 220 ohm resistor, which controls the amount of current going into LED. And these two resistors are basically used to protect the components of the circuit. And with that being said, let's start the simulation as well. We'll just do that and explain side by side. So let's say that if the threshold value basically that I've set in the code is about 50 centimeters, and if the user is away from, so here's the thing, I'll just get into code as well. So over here, as you guys can see that the distance is set to be less than 50 centimeters and the flex value is less than 100. And over here, you guys can see that the user is quite away from the chair, more supposedly, and the distance over here measured is like 175 or about 180 over here. And let's say if I decrease the distance here, and the serial monitor changes the value as well, which is quite less than 50, of course, around 21. And over here, let's say if the sitting person is now going to bend and the value drops below 100, as you guys can see, what happened is basically the LED light has turned on, indicating that the person sitting is basically sitting in a bad posture, and they need to correct it. And what I'm going to do is actually if I increase the distance here, that is as you guys can see, that the condition has been broken, and that's why the LED just turned off. But if I bring it here, which is less than 50, the LED turns on, indicating that, okay, the person sitting is in a bad posture. And over here as well, let's say if I increase the value, that is over 100 now, the LED just turns off, indicating that, okay, the person is not bending that much that it can be considered a bad posture over here. So yeah, that's how the whole simulation works. Uh, just getting into the code and explaining everything. So you guys can see I've basically mentioned the analog as well, the digital pins here. I'm using a void loop to get everything done. And the main conditions are the threshold values here. For these values, actually I had to experiment a lot to find the correct ones. And yeah, that's the code and the simulation. And overall, this is my video demonstration for a posture sensor that can be planted on a chair in order to indicate if the person is sitting in a bad posture. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And this is my video demonstration. So yeah, see ya.